Hi, welcome back to Daytime. Well, this coming Sunday, the 8th of June, what better way to spend the day than a nice day in the park? Well, that is just one of the many functions that's going on for the 4th annual Nonviolence Festival. They're having a day in the park this Sunday, and I'm here with Roger Albrecht, who's from the KW Humanist movement. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thanks, Terry. Nice to be here.
So, 4 years.
Yeah.
This has been going on.
This will be the first year in Victoria Park. Previous 3 were Waterloo Park West, where a lot of people didn't even know where that was. There's a band shell there, and no one knows that the park exists.
Yeah.
So we decided to move to Kitchener this year, and right in the middle of the city, lots of cars going by, people, hubbub.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be perfect.
Now, and I said this earlier in the show, I mean, it should be a very simple solution. We decide whether or not we're going to love somebody or hate them. But violence comes in many forms as well, does it not?
For sure. That's a really important element, that it's not just physical. Mental, emotional, sexual, religious, political, economic is probably one of the biggest ones. Gandhi said poverty is the greatest form of violence.
Right.
So this aspect of what is violence and then what to do about it, 2 really big questions we rarely ask each other or participate in actions that ask those questions and say, hey, maybe, just maybe, there's a way to resolve this problem without use of violence. Right. And it's rarely touched upon. It's almost like we live in a culture that defaults to, say, for instance, military action. That, oh, you're either this side or this side, one or the other, nothing in between. That's not true. There are there have been some great minds through history, great human beings, incredible human beings, which have changed things through nonviolence.
Right.
So nonviolence is an action. It takes strength, it takes courage. It's not the absence of something, it is positive growth, moving forward. It's the future hope of mankind.
Yeah, yeah, well, exactly. And it would have taken a lot of strength and courage just to even get the movement going in the first place. How did that all come about?
Well, the KW Humanist movement, the Humanist movement worldwide, is grassroots, international, really simply just human beings building the kind of world they want to live in. And we use nonviolence as an action, as a tool to do that. So throughout the world, you got small groups doing what they think is important for where they live. I mean, if you're living in a developing nation and you need a well more than anything else for water, then that's what you'll concentrate on. Right. So here in our culture, as we do different projects, one of the projects we do is this poster here, the Diversities poster.
Right.
It's made up of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of photos of citizens of Kitchener-Waterloo, put into a collage. We make a poster of it and then hand it out at the Multicultural Festival every year. And it's a nice project. We have a neighborhood newspaper that comes out 4 times a year. So a couple of projects going on, and as my brother Matt and I were 2 of the main people, and we're having trouble getting more people to help us, and I've been doing it for 10, 15, 20 years. We said, we got to do something that people get as an action.
Right.
A festival, music, food. We get that. People get music and food.
Right.
So we're going to put a festival together and be the Nonviolence Festival. And so we began to organize that, basically going to people and saying, can you help out? If you can, what do you want to do? Right. Not first saying we need to do these things, but rather let it happen and kind of let go of, oh, but we didn't advertise enough, or oh, we didn't do this enough. Yeah. Whatever amount of people you can get on board, being able to use their energies, use their talents. This is how, again, as part of changing the world, is that we all have talents and abilities, every one of us. Yeah. And we can utilize those talents and abilities moving in a positive direction. Yeah.
Well, one of the most fascinating moments, because I started with the show here in September, and I think one of the most fascinating moments this season was when Philip Bass came on, and he had footage of a human peace sign, which I wish, it was one of those moments where I wish I'd known that was going on.
Right.
I would have loved to have been a part of it.
Getting the word out. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. But that was incredible to create a human peace sign.
Yeah, it started a few years ago in Budapest, the humanist movement there. And now they've got like 3,500 people when they do a peace sign. Yeah. We had 300 last year, and this past one in 2008, we had about 175. And it was cold. We were aligning ourselves a year ago with our human peace sign around the world, more than 50 cities doing human peace signs, the 4th anniversary of the war in Iraq. And so this year there wasn't that consolidated effort, but there's still peace signs throughout the world. And after this one, we said, okay, no more March for doing human peace signs. It's too cold.
Yeah.
We're going to do it. The International Day of Nonviolence, UN declared, is September 21st. So starting next year, we're going to do it September 21st.
It'll be a little warmer.
Yes. And it'll be great. And there'll be that many more people, and it'll continue to grow. But yeah.
Oh, there it is there.
Yes, and that footage, which is on the web, we had a production company call us, does videos for Sheryl Crow, a music video that she's doing coming up, and they asked us to use our video footage from that.
No.
Yeah, about
right on.
I think it's something to do with the 50th anniversary of the peace sign that was developed in the 50s. So you never know where it'll get to and how it'll grow and so on. But growth is inevitable in this process because there's so many people saying, "This is right on what you do. It's fantastic." Yeah. And I mean, along the way, that challenge, that individual challenge for a person to say, "Hey, I love what you're doing," and then we say, "Come help us." "Oh, well, I don't join groups." And "Oh, you're part of that group." I mean, you've got your fitness group, you've got your work group, we're all in groups. It's okay. But that personal challenge is what people find difficult. Yeah. I might have to go on the street corner and give out pamphlets or something. Well, no, you define yourself. You have talents and abilities. Let's move in a direction that's very positive. Yeah. And one must think and feel and act together. That coherence and treat others as you want to be treated, that's unified action. Yeah. So anything you do in life, think about it from that perspective. It doesn't matter about this festival, but that coherence of bringing together your thoughts and feelings and actions. Because I mean, if you said, "I hate doing this show, but I think it's a good thing," or "My head says this, my heart says this, but I act," you're always going to have chaos. Right. So that internal chaos is something that is about the growth of you and how to overcome that. So nonviolence is, so more spiritual speaking or intellectually too, you just simply say it's about reconciliation. And reconciliation is something that, for instance, you start with yourself. To reconcile with oneself, reconciling with the other, if you can do that, you're growing as a person. Right. You're letting go. And we know lots of philosophies and ideas about that, about letting go and what that means. So there's deeper stuff involved in this process if one is interested and inclined to follow and look at. It's also simply celebratory. This day in the park is celebratory. Celebrating diversity, as this celebrates our diversity. Yeah. That's important and positive. And all of these things that we do that are about changing the world or changing yourself, it has to be positive inside. It has to be joyful. You can't force yourself to do this.
Exactly.
So that's important.
Words to live by. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
So get yourself down to Victoria Park this Sunday between noon and 10.
That's right.
Yes, and there's going to be games and, as you said, music and food.
And trading cards.
And trading cards.
Nonviolent trading cards.
No way.
For you. Got it, need it.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, there you go. I will send off with Leo Tolstoy, 1828 to 1910. One of the great philosophers of the world, was he not?
Influenced Gandhi.
Very good. Well, thanks again for coming on the show. And
thanks for having me.
I wish you every success this Sunday.
I appreciate it.
And the rest of the year. Take care. Come on back, a lot more daytime after this.